sitting before me is one of the greatest selling authors of our generation. Her name is Donna Leon. She is here to talk about her latest book. It's called A Refiner's Fire, but we've so much to discuss. Welcome to the studio. Lovely to see you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure, delight to be here.
I imagine most people, and I'm one of them, when I talk to an author, I often refer to the millions of copies of books they've sold. And I don't often speak to those who have sold as many as you necessarily. But do you like to hear that number?
I don't know that number.
I think it's probably well over 20, 30 million.
I don't know.
Do you care?
No, it's not that I don't care, but I think there's some information that people shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And that's one.
You have an interesting relationship with information.
Yeah.
I say that because you don't have a telephone, or at least a mobile phone.
No, I don't.
Computer?
I have a computer
Okay.
because my handwriting is inaccessible.
Is it that bad?
Yeah, it's very bad.
You could have been a doctor in another life.
Yeah, exactly.
If you missed that, you missed the train.
I missed the chance.
And what about television?
No.
Okay, and can you talk to me a little bit about that before we talk about your latest book and all that?
No, I think that I've seen. I'm old enough to have grown up before the telefonino, before the computer. I can still remember my amazement when I saw my first. The first copy machine at long distance. What do you call them now? We don't use them anymore.
What, the fax? Or
the fax.
Yeah.
I saw my first fax when I was teaching in Saudi Arabia, and I couldn't believe it. Yeah. This paper came out, and I said, "Where's that coming from?" It's coming from Paris.
Yeah.
And it took me a minute to absorb that this space had been conquered. I don't have a telephone, because so many people sit on the subway or on the bus and spend a half an hour communicating, I think, from what I can make, with people they don't know.
Yeah.
With people they will never see. They have these I hate the word relationship. They have this union with people that they do not know. They've never had a meal with this person. They never will have a meal or a drink with these people. They'll never meet this person's family. They'll never visit this person's old school. I just don't know what these supposed friendships are based upon.
So you think it's kind of a bit destructive in a social context?
No, I don't know. No, I think it's unusual.
Yes.
I think it'll take some time before we can tell whether it's destructive or not.
Television, then, that's also gone for you. You just no interest.
Well, I never had one because it's like ice cream. I don't keep ice cream in the house because I know that. Let me just see what it tastes.
One scoop.
One scoop.
One scoop.
One scoop, and then could you bring me a bigger bowl, please? Yeah.
A larger spoon and a bigger tub.
Could you bring me a syringe? I want to just stick it into my left arm.
So you're afraid of just wasting time looking
I'm
at a
afraid
screen?
of wasting time.
It's kind of there are two screens you just don't want in your life, essentially.
Yeah.
Because you want to just live the real thing.
Yeah, I think the real thing is more enjoyable.
Yeah.
And I avoid words like better or worse because those words don't enter here. But for me, another source of entertainment or enjoyment is preferable.
Yeah.
It's like eating carrots or not.
How do you feel about walking into a bookshop? What sort of joy does that bring you?
No, I'm always thrilled.
Yeah.
Because I don't live in an English-speaking country, and I have never lived as an adult for a long period of time in an English-speaking country. Mm-hmm. So an English-speaking bookstore is like dying and going to heaven because all the books are in English, and I can read them.
Where do you gravitate towards? What section do you? Is it the same every time? Do you kind of go to crime, or do you?
No. I don't read crime. Usually, I go to the classics.
Yeah.
I read things usually before maybe 1900.
So you go that far back,
Yeah.
and that's where you find yourself in your comfort zone.
Yeah.
You don't read crime. You only write crime. You don't read it.
I write crime, but I don't read it because it's just so violent.
Yeah.
And so at times so bloody, and I don't like that.
So how would you categorize your crime writing then? If it's because all crime is bad, of course, but is it less violent? Is that how you?
Yeah, it's as I portray it. It is less violent. As an example, I would give there's a scene in one of the books where a person goes to a slaughterhouse where pigs. I think it's pigs that are being killed that day, and the scene describes the pigs being slaughtered.
Yes.
people have come to me and said, "Oh, in that scene where, it's just so disgusting. How could you write that?" And my answer is always, "Why don't you go and read the scene again?"
Yeah.
Because there's almost no violence in the scene.
Yes, yes.
That a piece of metal was moved from one place to another. They did unpleasant things to the animal, and then they did other things. And it's left to the reader's imagination.
Yeah.
And people fill in the blanks of what, in terms of description, doesn't happen to the animals in the book. But people remember, it's false memory.
Yes, yes.
Because the slaughter of animals is bloody and painful and horrible.
Amazing. So you've kind of designed a sketch of it and an implication, if you like, and then someone can decide how bloody or gory or awful that gets in their head. They make their own film, as they do, as we all do when we read books.
It's, in a way, it's like the phrase, "Oh yes, you're talking about a married man and a married woman, but they're not married to one another." Ah yes, they've been friends for a long time, haven't they? And that tells you everything. Instead of saying, they've been old friends forever. One is completely innocent and one suggests guilt.
Of course.
But it's the same words.
I agree with you, but the way you said it there, I could hear the grenade rattling along the tiles as you walked away, having just taken the pin out. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's what you do. You lived in Venice for how long, Donna?
Oof, more than 30 years, close to 40.
Venice is in the news a lot recently because there have been protests, haven't there, about over-tourism and everything like that. Was that part of the reason you moved to Switzerland then? There?
Yeah, I walked out of my house one day and the image I use always is the wildebeests migrating. It was like walking from an empty place out into the
tourist lines and
the tourist lines, the people doing what I did for 30 years. So I don't go out and scream at them. I don't go out and yell at them because I am a tourist. I'm not Venetian. And they have every right to use the city, see the city, fall in love with the city. And very many people in Venice, not Venetians, become very, very snooty about it and very high-minded about it. Oh, it's terrible that these people come to Venice and all they do is go in and shop. Yeah, it's not your business what they do. If someone walks through this excessive, ridiculously frequent, amazing beauty, they are going to be touched in some way. And it is not your duty to assign how they will be impressed by the beauty of Venice, because you can't escape it.
Yeah.
It's like telling somebody, "Oh no, it's really not hot." When you're standing in 42 degrees of heat or 127 degrees, you don't scorn the situation.
Yeah. And so you said, "I have enough of this now," and off you go out.
Yeah, because I got grumpy. I would leave my house and I'd be grumpy. I'd be an old fart. And so I said, I don't want to live like that.
Yeah. Get me out of here.
Get me out of here.
Get me out of here.
But I still go back.
Commissario Brunetti, this is the 33rd novel featuring him. It's called A Refiner's Fire, your latest book. Can you give us a flavour of it, please?
The book, the title is taken from Messiah. It's Shall He Reduce Us to a Refiner's Fire. It's a book about, it begins being a book about a recent phenomenon in Italy, baby gangs.
Yeah.
There are lots of baby gangs. They are groups of teenagers, maybe 10, 12, fewer more than that, or seldom more than that. And they just go out and they want to cause trouble. They go out at night and they want to have trouble. They don't want to steal. They don't want to they don't have a specific target. They're not going out to get Johnny down the corner. They're just going out and looking for trouble.
I'm thinking of Gomorrah as you speak.
Yeah. It's the same mentality of wanting to be a group and you're united by the excess of your behavior. It's very troubling to most Italians. It's a phenomenon of the North, not of the South. I think that is, I could be way wrong, but I think that's because the familial situation in the South is still rigorously Papa's the boss,
right.
Mama's the boss, and the kids are made to be or trained to be obedient more than kids in the North are. I could be wrong with that, but that's my impression of it when I go to the South.
And you felt the gangs were a good good starting point for this this
Yeah,
story. Yeah,
because
for
it could introduce one of the major characters, Grifoni, the woman detective, the woman commissaria,
yes.
and could get things moving, and then bring it back at the end of the book. Leave the gangs alone, and turn to other things. But then the kids come back with a vengeance, and at the end of the book.
Helen has been on. Can I give you a message from one of our listeners?
Sure.
She says, for Donna, the way Donna writes about Venice, I'm there. I can taste it. I can smell it. I think I know her characters. Thank you so much. That must be a joy to hear that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Well, I lived there for a long time, and the people with whom I had contact while I was in Venice were almost all Venetians. Yeah. So I had the delight of entering into not just Venetian society, but Venetian real life.
And yet I couldn't buy your book if I went to Venice.
Yeah,
you don't sell.
The English copies are on sale in
Venice,
Venice,
but not in Italian.
Not in Italian. The reason for that is it's really quite simple and possibly stupid. Some years ago, I was approached by two old women. I'm an old woman now, but they were my age then, maybe 10, 15 years ago, whom I had known reasonably well. And they both, on succeeding days, assaulted me verbally for having, why did you say those things about Italy? Why do you speak so badly of Italy? Why do you have this bad opinion of Italy? And I said, what are you talking about? You say that Italians are corrupt, that the government is corrupt, that the police, that there's corruption, there's dishonesty. And I said, well, I merely point to its existence. And I said, you should be ashamed of yourself because Italy, and both of them went on. And I stopped them and I said, which book are you talking about? Tell me what book I offended you, you were offended by, and I will apologize to you. And I would. And they said, no, it's all of them. I said, okay. Did you read the books? No. All right. How do you know about the books? They had read it in Il Tempo, the newspaper from Torino.
Yeah.
And it spoke of this American, this foreigner, leave it alone what country I came from.
Coming in here with her ideas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And making comment. She's spitting in the dish out of which she's eaten. And they're right. They were right to be offended.
Okay.
They are, as I would say, when I hear people bad-mouthing America, although I haven't lived there for 50 years, I still, if someone's excessively critical of the United States for things that are not, there's plenty wrong in America.
But when they start,
we could be here for a month.
For right or wrong, but yes, to talk about America is so interesting these days. But yes,
when someone who is not, in my case, it's really not an English speaker.
Yeah.
You're sort of you are an honorary American because you speak English as your native tongue. Yeah. But I can understand their position. It's not nice to have foreigners saying the same thing you say. It's irrational, it's stupid, but it's there. And I think we all, to a certain extent, share that irritation at someone who isn't one of us criticizing us.
Well, we've had a queue out the door of people who want to say hello to you today because you're so very popular, and people listening to sending messages in to say hello to you today as well. Donna, it's been a delight to talk to you. Hello back. We didn't even get a chance to talk about your Irish heritage, of which you have plenty. A fighting spirit in you. We'll get there next time, maybe.
Okay, good.
In the meantime, Donna Leon, thank you and congratulations and continued success.
Yeah, thank you.
Virgin Radio.